Alright, so in this video I'm going to talk about Russians. Russians as a nation, Russians as a culture, as a society. So first thing is that Russians don't speak English. Majority of people, like 90%, 95%, maybe more like 97, 98% people don't speak English. So if you're a foreigner, you approach them, I don't know, you come from some, I don't know, let's say like Germany or something. You go to Russia, you go to a Russian town, and you've got some question like how to get somewhere or something, or like you ask something, that they cannot speak English. Like English is not really like promoted. Like yeah, people kind of they have those English classes at schools like since childhood, but like yeah, how they kind of teach English. So there are like 30 people like in the class, like, or let's say okay, classes are divided in like two groups, like 15 people each, so like nobody cares, like teachers don't care, they get low salaries. I mean, students don't care, like pupils don't care, like English language is not promoted. People don't really watch content, read content, consume content in English. They don't do that. They only consume content in Russian. So my point is that like Russians are really kind of detached from this world English speaking community, I would say. So they only read in Russian, they only like watch, listen in Russian, they speak Russian, they cannot speak English. Like those people who can't speak English, they're like, I don't know, like 1, 2, at maximum 3% of people. So if you come and approach random person in the streets, they cannot speak English. Like the situation is a little bit better like in Moscow and St. Petersburg, which are like top populated cities, but it's still like not more than, let's say, like 5% of people don't care. So people like Russians are really far away from these like English speaking communities. That I would say is that I have not really seen that with other nations. I have not seen that with Europeans, like, I don't know, let's say people from Czech Republic, like from Poland, even like from like other post-Soviet countries like Kazakhstan or something, like people from other post-Soviet countries that they seem to kind of know English better, like Georgia, Kazakhstan, people know English better there. Probably because of this like anti-American propaganda that people are experiencing in Russia. Anti-American, anti-Western propaganda is very hard. People believe that. And they do not recognize West as something like successful, something that has made a lot of great things, something that you can look up at, yeah, and kind of respect, and like respect everything, like those premium brands that they have done, like those Apple, like Netflix, like Microsoft, everything. People don't recognize that in Russia. They don't look up at that. They don't recognize English. And everything is different, I would say, in Russia. Like Russians have different measure system. So when I watch some content in English, like so people kind of measure height, human height in feet, like 5 feet, 6 feet, yeah. But Russians don't recognize that. Like they have different measure system. They measure like centimeters. So like 8 feet is like not 8 feet, like 6 feet is like 180 centimeters or something. And everything is different. Another thing that Russians do not recognize is American dollar. There were times when like after the collapse of Soviet Union, when and like market economy started to emerge in post-Soviet countries. So and national currency used to be very very unstable. So people really kind of did things like did their deals, made their deals in dollars. But they used to do that. That was like back in like 1990s or something. Right now, people do not recognize dollar in Russia, so people don't understand like what is like $10,000 or something. They don't care. They live only in their national currency, which is still pretty unstable. That's pretty unstable. Like the inflation rate in a country right now is like more than 20%. More than 20%. But people still count everything like in Russian ruble. United States dollar is not recognized. Like people don't, which is different from other post-Soviet countries like Belarus, for example. In Belarus, people kind of make deals, strike deals like in dollar, not in national currency. But like Russia is very, very far away from dollar. People don't recognize that probably because of this very, very brutal kind of anti-American propaganda. They don't recognize like civil rights. Like, in Western countries, people kind of have this concept that kind of they're like taxpayers. So they have some income, they pay taxes on that, and kind of state managers, state kind of officials are recognized like managers, yeah, who manage their money, yeah, and they kind of distribute this money that people have earned and then gave it like away to like the state, and then like state kind of distributes this money, yeah, to kind of it directs that on like public causes, yeah, like on improving like infrastructure, public infrastructure, like medical care or like medical insurances or whatever. In Russia, people don't have this concept. They don't care. They're not willing to defend their interests. So let's say something happens. For example, there is this kind of utilities provider who kind of provides, let's say, central heating in like blocks of flats. Russians, most of people live kind of in blocks of flats. If we talk about like towns or cities, people live in blocks of flats, and there is central heating there. And if something is bad about central heating, for example, heating is not good, like it's not really a warm in apartments, people are not really willing to still go and defend their interests, like which was just like you just had to kind of join together, assemble together, get together, kind of, I don't know, vote, decide that okay, we don't want to have that, we disagree with that, let's kind of assemble signatures and go to this kind of utilities provider and kind of go and defend our interests. Russians are not like that. There is a proverb which says, my shirt is closer to me. They care only about themselves. They don't care about like these common kind of things, even if they touch on them. Very bad quality of roads. The central heating could be better, but people don't care. People don't really care much. They're not willing to go and defend their interests. They just have it as it is. Russians tend to believe state too much. They don't kind of go and combat with the state, like to defend their interests when a state has corrupted their interests. They don't care. They live their life, they go to work, earn money, come back, like provide for their families, and they don't care about their civil rights. In front of the state, like state does something, for example, increases taxes, people don't care. They don't go on like meetings, they don't go on like protests, they don't care. Russians are unable to get together and defend their public interests. Everybody only thinks about themselves. So that is a very big myth, which came from Soviet Union, back from Soviet Union times, which said that like Russians are like collectivists or something. There's so much individuals that they don't care about like public interests, which touch on them. They don't care. They're not will. They don't believe that they can. They don't believe in like getting together and defending their interests. They don't believe that they can change something in terms of like state or something. They look at that like it's some like somebody who's like stronger than you and more powerful, and you cannot do anything about that. So that is the concept of the state for them. State officials are like a president is like a side for them. That's a side that they look up to, and they kind of that's not their manager who just distributes their taxes in favor of them. No, that's like a side for them. That's like almost like the son of the god for them, who they look up to, and they do whatever he says. So they're not really uh, citizens. If when their rights are violated, they don't care. I mean, probably they care, but they don't do anything about it. They're unable to get together as civilians, as citizens, and go and defend their interests. Like some crazy things can start, like military actions in another countries where people go and die. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. People may really lose their relatives during these military actions. They still are going to believe this society. They still are going to believe those state officials. They don't need democracy. They don't believe in democracy. And probably they even say that they have democracy. Like it's very important for them to have like democratic institutions, but like only existence and in paper. They don't they don't care about it. It's just important for them to say, yeah, we have democracy like in the Western countries and everything, but everybody understands there is no democracy. And the state officials are going to be forever, and that there is no system of checks and balances. There is no opportunity to kind of change like the ruling party or something. Nobody can change whatever. So there are like kind of tsars at the top, yeah, who are like children of God, and you cannot do anything about that. You just have to like admit that and recognize them and respect them. Take a look at those people who are kind of in authority, in the highest authority in Russia. They don't even look like powerful. Take a look at the president like of Russia. He's pretty small, doesn't look powerful. He cannot speak English, doesn't speak English, doesn't make any interesting jokes. Like Trump is alive. President Trump looks alive. Like he can make jokes. Like President of Russia doesn't make jokes, but like people still recognize him because he kind of came back from. So he used to work in secret agency or something, and this thing is really like respected and recognized. That is recognized by people. It's like being powerful. So there is some state agency which deals with kind of security in the country or something, and that thing is really respected and recognized. And even that doesn't matter that a person looks like that and it's not really alive and like no jokes. Like, so there are some myths about Russia, like people drink vodka, like everybody drinks vodka, there are bears everywhere, people wear like Kalashnikovs weapons or something. No, that's all myths. So the fact is like Russians live, if you just take a look at what happens in cities or something, just as ordinary people. What is more, it's very, very peaceful, I would say. It's very, very peaceful, like in towns and cities everywhere, and there are no kind of ghetto areas. So I heard and I saw like there are ghetto areas like in big American cities like Los Angeles or New York, where like even police doesn't go, where there is a lot of crime, a very high crime rate. But it's not happening in Russia. Like people are living really peacefully. They don't shoot in the street, nothing even close to that I could see like in American cities like Memphis, Los Angeles, where people like black people treat each other, they kill each other, like shooting at each other. That's impossible in Russia. Nothing like that happens. So yeah, people live like normal life. They buy like foreign cars, they use this brand, they enjoy like those things that civilization gives. So nobody lives like like in the forest or something. So people are living like normal life. Oh, there is a thing in Russia that people do not respect those kind of they don't respect West. They don't recognize West. They don't look up at West at something which is more powerful and like supposed to be more kind of respected. Nothing like that. Which is very different from other post-Soviet countries, let's say Belarus. So people in Belarus, they make deals in dollars. They really want to kind of go to like migrate to like Europe, to the United States. That's like level up for them. But in Russian, people don't look up at West. And like the funny thing is that they enjoy like buying those things from American companies, from European companies, different products like cars, like iPhones or something. But at the same time, they do not recognize West as the powerful entity which they should look up to. No, they disrespect West simultaneously. Politically speaking, everybody lives in a lie. From the point of view that everybody understands there is no democracy, but still they say they have that. They say they have democratic political institutions like constitution, state organizations, but in fact, of course, there is nothing even like close to that. We can see that there is one person like at the top of the political power for like 25 years. Can you imagine anything like that happening in a Western country? And like the situation is getting worse and worse and worse. No democracy, and countries getting far further and further and further away from democracy. But still, people like kind of everybody understands that, but they still respect like state and everything, and they keep saying that they have democracy or something. Russians see West and United States in particular as an enemy. So I have always realized that like United States don't really care about Russia so much as like Russians care about United States. So they still have this kind of Soviet Union, Soviet kind of mindset that there is United States, which is capitalism, there is like Soviet Union, which is communism. They kind of are in this battle, like they're equal or something. Like American economy is like, I don't know, like 20 times more than Russian economy, like 30 times more, 50 times more, I don't know. But like, yeah, in their mind, like mm, West is their enemy. So that's not somebody, some kind of entity that you look up at. It's something that you're an enemy with. So what happened since 2022? Uh the situations got much worse. All of like Western companies have gone away from the country, and people kind of lost access to all these products that Western countries provided, what Western companies provided. Everybody left, like IKEA, Netflix, Microsoft, Google, like uh, all of the companies left. So, and what's happening is that people are still using those products, but like they buy them through other countries. They buy that like through Turkey, through Kazakhstan. That has become much more expensive, but like they still do that. That can work out with some products and cannot with others. Um, People cannot go and travel like Europe. There are very limited list of countries where Russians can go now. They're just not given visa to go there. So in fact, that's a closed country now. People are living in a closed country. It's like going in the direction of like North Korea with its like totalitarian regime. In 2022, when this military action started in Ukraine, probably like up to like 2 million people went away from the country. Others remained for different reasons. The majority of people, like the vast majority, supports the government, supports what's happening. Therefore, they stand for this military operation. They think the government does the right thing. What is more, they go themselves and they go to Ukraine, they destroy the country, and they die themselves there. They kill other people and they die themselves there, and they think that's okay. They think that's the right thing. They think that Ukraine is a Nazis country and they're doing the right thing. Going to another country and killing people there. Not Ukraine started this thing. Not Ukraine assaulted Russia, but Russia went to Ukraine, started this thing. I've been watching a lot of American YouTube, and I saw that I saw those things that are promoted in America, like being rich is promoted, being successful is promoted, staying in a cool shape is promoted. There's nothing like that in Russia. So getting better, becoming more successful and powerful and feeling healthier, that's not promoted. And that's not recognized really. That's not something that people talk about. They would rather complain to each other about things that they cannot control. But becoming better and more successful and richer is not promoted here. Instead, people believe the state, people believe state propaganda, and they go to another country to kill people there, to destroy the country, and to die themselves. They are paid money. So the amount of money that people are paid to go to another country and die there, that is it's like the average salary in Russia now is let's say $700. $700. So the amount of money that they're given now for a month to go and die there is probably 2,500 something. So, and a lot of people really go there to get money, to earn money, and they're ready to die for that. This kind of love to the state is promoted, but being even a good person is not promoted, you know? Mm, like, that's not an argument. You cannot just approach a Russian person and talk to him about yeah, being a mean person now, you're being not good, doing that. That's not an argument really for him. They have a different mindset. So their mindset is I have to very quickly get something for myself right now, make him a fool, and get away from that. Get away with that, and my thing is very fast, get money or something and get away without any bad consequences for me. I realized this difference in between Russians and other very when I started to communicate with representatives of other nations. Belarusians are very different. Jewish people are very different. Jewish people, they have this understanding of what is a right thing to do. What it is to be a right person, what it is to talk with a person, how you are supposed to talk, what is to respect a person. Jewish people have this understanding. Russians do not.